time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. Let's I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, just wanna get in my crew, but can't get in my crew. Me, Axel, and Huber, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah, I got the juice.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, I have something extra special for you. Tonight's guest is Lisa Smallwood-Belk, a former pharmaceutical and biotechnology executive specialty representative, a PKD patient, current patient advocate, speaker, and consultant. Lisa is newly retired at the age of 60. Due to kidney disease, she spent 25 years in pharmaceutical and biotechnology industries. After graduating from Temple University in 1984, she spent the majority of her career with 2 Fortune 500 companies. She later obtained an MS in leadership from Grand Canyon University. She was diagnosed with ADPKD in 1987 at the age of 33. This occurred after she was married and pregnant. With her first child, she was diagnosed during the course of an ultrasound by her OB/GYN. Under the care of her primary care physician, her GFR began to decrease. When it reached 29, she was referred to a nephrologist. Due to work and the distance of 1 to 2 hours away, after the first few years, she had some difficulty making and keeping appointments. By 2017, she got sick. She ended up in a hospital with renal failure, anemia, and dehydration. Her physician later explained to her how serious her disease was, asked her to keep appointments, and told her, "You are sick, real sick, and you need to take care of yourself." And he told her this in front of her daughter, who is now a CNA in the same hospital. Eventually, a couple years later, she started dialysis during another hospital stay where her GFR was so low it could not be calculated. She and her nephrologist together decided she would start on peritoneal dialysis to best preserve her body and to avoid additional antibodies that might interfere with the kidney transplant. An abdominal catheter was inserted on April 29th, 2019, and her PD began June 1st, 2019. She received a call for her kidney transplant on November 21st, 2020, and was transplanted around 8:30 a.m. in the morning with her new kidney that her granddaughter nicknamed Mia. There have been challenges post-transplant, but those have been managed. Lisa, just speaking to me before the broadcast, told me that she feels she has been called to do kidney advocacy work. She is currently doing that through her own group, the Kidney Network, among other groups. Please give a warm welcome to Lisa Smallwood-Belk. Start the show, Steve. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Oh, Jim, I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. Bless.
Oh, no worries. Did I get everything correct? All the information in the introduction?
You did. I mean, you told my story.
Excellent. Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, what your current family situation is.
Well, I grew up in Broadway, New Jersey, and I am married, a wife of 34 years, and just as you said, I decided to, after high school, take on go into college, and I majored in actual business administration with a minor in marketing at Temple University. And honestly, one of the things I always wanted to do was sell because I enjoy people. And I wanted to work in the pharmaceutical industry, but coming right out of college, at that time, they were looking for people with a marketing or sales background, got away, from the science folks so much, but I needed to have a track record. And so I ended up in pharma with just two companies, kind of back and forth for those 25 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's my understanding that you are currently retired after 25 years in pharmaceutical and biological industries. Can you explain to us, why did you retire?
Well, I actually, I ended up in contracting at the end of my career. It actually, that's not uncommon amongst people who are in the pharmaceutical and biotech industries. And believe it or not, the contract had left in December of 2019. And it was good timing for me because I was really starting to get sick. I mean, really sick and tired. I remember, due to the anemia, being at my desk. And I remember one day going to my then manager and telling her, I don't know, I really didn't understand what was going on with my body, but I knew that I was just exhausted. I couldn't keep my eyes open, went in the car, slept for about an hour, and then took the journey home, which was an hour and a half away from where I worked. So that's when I knew that I was my disease state was starting to progress. And so I decided at that point to focus primarily on my kidney and try to get a transplant and figure out my next steps, if you will.
I understand that you were diagnosed with the dominant form of PKD, the ADPKD, in 1987 at age 27.
Yes.
Can you explain to us how that diagnosis came about?
Just as you said, I had just been married. I was married for 6 months and ended up pregnant. And my focus at that time was just to have a healthy baby, be a good wife, and do my job. That's it. That's what I did. And really, when when the ultrasound came back, my obstetrician said to me, you have cysts on your kidneys. It's called PKD. And basically, there's nothing we can do about it. And I said, well, what would be my next steps? That's a question I often ask. She said, well, there's really nothing you can do right now. She said, eventually you'll be transplanted. And she just kind of left it at that. So I went on with my life, and I did, I worked, I took care of my family, did life, and just kind of went on to do, what I needed to do to take care of my family.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about the consulting that you did with your primary care physician to the point that you were referred to a nephrologist. Can you tell us the circumstances? What happened there?
Well, you know what? I've been with my internist for 30 years. I mean, I used to actually call on him as a representative, and he did my blood work when I got married. So this relationship is an established relationship. But and I continued to, do my appointments as I regularly did. And once my GFR got to be at 29, he said, Lisa, I think you should see a nephrologist. And that's when my whole nephrology relationship began. And then at that point, I had started seeing the team. And they were both affiliated with, the practice was affiliated with the teaching hospital, but it was a local hospital. But at that time, they were just doing blood work. Not really no advice as to what I needed to do next. Then my job got complicated. And when that happened, I was working probably about 2 hours away from home. And so I started missing appointments, and it was difficult for me to get appointments. I was still feeling good. So it just fell to the wayside. And like most women do, you end up focusing on your other focus. You're not focused on yourself and your health. And that's really what happened. I really don't think it's uncommon amongst women.
Okay. And the nephrologist you were referred to, what's his name?
I don't know if I should say that.
Okay, then we'll skip it.
Yeah, it's actually a large practice. If I knew, I would have asked if I could actually use their name, but I haven't been given that permission.
Okay. I understand that by 2017 your kidneys failed, and you ended up in the hospital with renal failure, anemia, and dehydration.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what happened there?
I just got sick. My daughter was working at that hospital at that time, and I was taking her to work. I had my grandbaby who was, she was a toddler at that time, and I had just awoken, taken my shower, gotten dressed, and I said to her, I don't think I can watch Ariana today. I am exhausted. And she said to me, she's the one who kind of pushed me into the ER. And so that's what I did. I went into the ER, and that's when I was diagnosed with renal failure, anemia, and dehydration.
Okay.
The first time.
And how long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital about a week. And still other-centered. You know what? And I'll tell you this because it's wrong, and I don't want anybody to do this. There was an upcoming sales meeting. It was my first in many years, and I was working contracting, and I was so determined to get to that meeting. And I even told my doctors, I said, I'm going to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Texas. So I was still other focused at that time. And so even after having a conversation with my nephrologist. So that's what you don't do. You got to make sure when you have what we have, and I'm transplanted, but I even had a physician tell me you're cured. No, you're not, because I still have these huge kidneys in my body growing cysts. And that's something that I need to keep an eye on. And that's something that I make sure my providers are watching, because I still have, ADPKD. And it can, as you know, it can cause problems at any time.
Right. The advice that you would give to other PKD, chronic kidney disease patients about keeping your appointments, seeing your nephrologist on a regular basis based on your experience, what would that advice be?
Just to do that. I would add something to that story. I think it's important to journal your experiences, to keep track of your blood work as it comes back to you. Ask questions about it, that things you don't understand. And even if it's been explained to you before in the past, I think it's important to gain clarification if you still don't understand it. Read everything that comes your way. If a doctor says to you, all right, your creatinine is increasing and we need to think about, dialysis, I'm just throwing that out there, then what you need to do is figure out what that creatinine really means, even if you ask, and how do you know that I'm ready for dialysis, and what are my options? I'm not sure that people know that there are different forms of dialysis. And there are benefits to peritoneal dialysis relative to preserving the body, relative to not developing additional antibodies, which sets the stage for rejection. And I must say, in saying all of this, I am not a healthcare provider. These are just things that I've learned through training and reading and dealing with my body. I would say that you get a nephrology team that is affiliated with teaching institutions. And why I say that, I would probably go for the best in my area. I think if I knew what I know now, I'm not saying anything negative about my doctors, but I would definitely have a nephrologist that's closely related to teaching institutions and maybe even a transplant center. Because they're going to be up to date on the latest studies that are out there. I may have been able to be in a clinical study because there are therapeutics now that prolong your renal function, as you well know. So that drug was being studied at some point. Maybe, I'm just saying maybe, I could have been a part of that clinical study. And it's the only drug on the market that preserves your renal function.
You're talking about tolvaptan?
Yes, and the brand name is Genarq. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. When did you start dialysis? I have that around your age, 59. I know I'm not supposed to talk about ladies' age, but
that's okay. You know what? I am so happy to be here. I tell them I'm 60 all the time. And I'm thankful, because this is my second life. And that's why I really believe, now here comes my spiritual belief. I believe that's why God saved me, because he prepared me for this. And this is what I'm supposed to be doing, is talking to people, getting them into treatment, helping them to have better outcomes. So really, honestly, that's the only work I'm going to do, is talk and try to educate at this point, consult if I can. The rest, I got this organization set up so my kids can do the work, because I'm not doing the work anymore. All I want to do is help people, heighten awareness, help people have better outcomes. So anyway, have a nephrologist that is associated with the teaching institution. Ask about clinical trials. Ask about your status. Read about it. Know the next steps. Okay, you're going on dialysis, you have PD and you have hemodialysis, okay? And then within that PD, peritoneal dialysis, they insert a catheter and they use your peritoneal cavity, which is inside your belly, as a third kidney. They put solution in there and take out the toxins. That's what I did. Then you have hemodialysis. Unfortunately, you build antibodies with hemodialysis, but some people, it's best for some people. That's why you got to have a conversation. Then you have the option of doing in-center dialysis, or you can do it at home. It really depends on your comfort level and what works for your best for your situation.
Okay. My understanding is that you chose peritoneal dialysis. You had a catheter that was inserted April 29th, 2019, and you officially began PD June 1st, 2019. Why did you choose that particular modality?
Well, as I said, that peritoneal dialysis, I could do at home. No, I can preserve my body. I'm not crazy about the exchange of blood. I'm just not. And that's really it. It was just the best thing for my body, because everybody can't do it. It depends on whether they can get enough fluid in that peritoneal cavity to actually, it sits there, and then it's drained, and that happens 3 times in the course of a night. So it depends on your prescription too. So I had 9 hours, but it was done at night. And also the solutions that you have to use. I was on the lowest level, and that worked for me. I mean, everything, it really worked like a charm for me. Did not need them to increase my prescription, change my prescription. The only issue I had was iron levels, and I got the IV iron on several occasions. And I went to DaVita, and I will tell you, my dialysis nurse was absolutely outstanding. I wish I could find her, actually. And she was just the best. She was gentle. She explained everything. She had me I washed my hands 5 times a night during that process. And I never had an infection. Never.
Okay. Lisa, let's talk about that a little bit. You have to be kind of fastidious when you're doing peritoneal dialysis, and you mentioned the hand washing and the possibility of infection. Can you explain to our audience why you do those things?
Well, what you don't want to get is an infection in the cavity. I'm sorry, the name escapes my...
Peritonitis.
Peritonitis. Thank you. Peritonitis. Yes. And how you notice that is it's extremely painful in the gut. You have to check your the fluid every night as it's excreted from the body, and it would look like a pineapple juice, if you will. Okay. So I mean, and if you get peritonitis, on maybe a couple occasions, you may not be able to do PD, then you got to do hemodialysis. So that's what's really important. And I want to add one other thing, because I avoided dialysis like no tomorrow. Oh my God, I think we all do. And I read all these sites, and I'm telling people, don't be afraid. I mean, you'll feel better. I mean, when I was just practicing, I felt better. And I don't know, it's just a great thing to do, but you gotta, again, understand what works best for you, because if you get sick, this is what my nephrologist told me when they couldn't read my numbers. He said, if you get sick and you fall out, and he said, Lisa, you will fall out. They're going to bring you to the hospital. They're going to put a catheter in your neck, and you will not have a choice. That was correct. So I said, when they couldn't read those numbers anymore, we got everything going during Corona, and he got me in with a surgeon to insert that catheter, and that was the day before my birthday, my 59th birthday.
Well, happy belated birthday, my friend.
That was then, Jim. I've celebrated 60 now, and it was we couldn't go nowhere, and we had a huge Zoom with family and friends, and I tell you, it was the best birthday ever.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. I understand that and kidney patients know what I'm referring to. I understand that you got the call for your kidney transplant November 21st, 2020. Can you tell us a little bit about the circumstances of the call and what happened?
Yes. It's funny because my eldest daughter, the one I was diagnosed with, she lives in South Jersey. And because of the disease state, she came home because of because of the coronavirus. She came home and she knew that I was going on this dialysis. Well, she slept by me as I went through dialysis. I mean, she wouldn't, I mean, she just watched me like a hawk. And so this night I was feeling kind of anxious. I didn't sleep well. I actually just kind of getting tired. And so I got the call, and as soon as the phone rang, her head went up like a deer, like looking around for something. I got excited because I could see it was coming from where my transplant center is, and that's St. Barnabas, number 3 in the country. It's beautiful, beautiful team. And they called me, and they said, "We think we may have a kidney for you." Now, I got to tell you, with that, I have my name on 2 types of lists. I had my name on just regular transplant list and the Hep C list. And I want to say to people, don't be afraid. Again, not as a physician. I called and asked people that I knew who were specialists. Don't be afraid of Hep C kidneys, because they got drugs that'll cure hepatitis C at 98%. I mean, that's the cure rates. And I had one that I talked about. So I got a call from the Hep C people first. And you know what? I just wasn't eligible. Somebody got the kidneys before me. So they called several people, not just the first person on the list. And so I waited and I called them back. And I was like, if my tests are about to expire, like, I thought because it's been a year. I said, do I need to do this, that, and the other? Is anything wrong? Is there something that I need to do? And they said, no, everything's all right. And then I got the call. So when I did get the actual call, again, they called me. It was St. Barnabas. They said, we think we have a kidney. And, I got up off of that machine. I unhooked myself because I knew that kidney was mine. And then I got the second call. They said that the kidney, I got the kidney. They're just trying to decide which one they're going to give me. And then the next obstacle or barrier, I will say, is that the kidney had to catch a plane. And the planes, they didn't have a flight. I was like, that kidney's getting here, and that kidney is mine. So I got up, got dressed. I had a great breakfast and went right to St. Barnabas as soon as they said we got the kidney on the plane. I'm sorry, that ain't nothing but God. That ain't nothing but God. So that's why I say, along with a couple of other incidents, that this is my calling. I don't want people to think it's an easy ride, because it's not. Yeah, and I know you know that, Jim, because I see it, the diagnosis as a disease state. I see transplantation and what happens thereafter as another disease state, and there's a couple other things in between, because you have challenges all the way down the line. And what's important, I think, to communicate to people is have faith, be positive, believe in yourself, don't get frustrated, find answers. These are things that I believe, and they kept me going. And as you journey, like I said before, I think it's important to journal it, because when you have a conversation with your doctor, you got all your questions there, everything that's happening there. So you are a good patient, and I guarantee you, you will have better outcomes.
Okay. You mentioned that you were transplanted at St. Barnabas. I have you being transplanted the same day as the call at 8:30 in the morning.
Yes, 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 you do. You're right. 8:30 morning, I had to be at the hospital. It started at 2 o'clock in the morning, the whole process. 2 o'clock in the morning was one call, then another call came. I can't even remember, maybe an hour later. And then the next call came, come on down. The second call was get ready. The second call was come on down. And that they got the flight and all that information. And I was at the hospital, I believe at 5 o'clock in the morning. They had to prep everything and take all the blood work, get me ready for the transplant. And they wheeled me down, and I had a female physician who did the transplant who looked no older than my daughter, but I am thankful for her. She did an awesome job. Yes, she did.
All right. Talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges that you have faced post-transplant.
Wow. Okay, post-transplant, I can say the kidney just started working right away. That doesn't happen for everybody. Sometimes you have a sleepy kidney. So be patient with that. But mine started right away. And so I was happy about that. Then they brought in the pill box. I mean, you have your normal, the pain, only lasted a couple of days. It really wasn't, the bad pain for maybe about 2-3 days. Okay. So they brought in the pill box. And when they brought in that pill box, I'm thinking, oh my God. Oh my God, I got to take all these pills, and knowing that there are side effects to medicines, and but this is what I had to do. So that's how I approach everything. Even now I have challenges. It's what I have to do to live. And so even I had some challenges figuring out what drug was what it did, side effects, things to look for, things to talk about. But that is the challenge, and I'm still working through side effects of particularly a tacrolimus and the myfortic acid, and it's been 9 months. So when something does happen, we have a conversation. I don't take anything before I talk to my doctors, my transplant team, and she is another one that's about the same age as my daughter, smart as well. Love her to death for the right reasons. And the right reasons are good physicians. You could have 4 bedside, I could care less. Just as long as you know what you're doing is what's important to me. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah, so we're managing the side effects of the drugs. And I must say, the prednisone is one of the drugs you're on for life. So you get this little moon face here.
Swelling, right?
Yeah, and you get, you may have elevated blood sugar, but that also comes from the tacrolimus and the myfortic acid.
Myfortic.
Yeah, myfortic acid. I'm having some issues with short-term memory, but I'm working through that in terms of documenting stuff and kind of just working through it. That's the thing that frustrates me most. But the sugar, my sugars are still uncontrolled. But you know what? Like I said, we do what we got to do. So insulin, I'm taking insulin just recently, after maybe the last month or so, learning how to work with that. But it's all good. These are things that we can control just as long as my team works with me and we work together. And I do my part and they do their part. I got an awesome team: endocrinologist, transplant nephrologist, general nephrologist. I'm also going to consult with a neurologist. I haven't done that yet because of the memory issues. I just want to make sure that, there's no damage and what can I do to get better. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay. A member of our audience has asked if there is an age cutoff for kidney transplant, and I wanted to address that a little bit. Just so you know, Miss, that depends on the transplant center. Different centers have different cutoffs, and some centers don't have any cutoffs. As long as you're healthy, and they will proceed with the transplant if a kidney becomes available. Has that been your experience, Lisa?
Yes, I think the cutoff in my area for donation and transplantation, I think it's 70, 75. I'm not sure, but I was unaware that different centers have different numbers. And I would, that's where your investigation comes in, to check different transplant facilities, which actually brought something else to mind for me. You, when you're planning for a transplant, I would say as soon as you know you have PKD and you know you need to be transplanted eventually, start looking and researching transplant facilities where they are in your area. I chose not to just go to just different regions. There are a couple I've had opportunities to go to, but even before you do that, my insurance company was extremely helpful. I have Aetna first of all, and they had what they call, I think it's success organizations. It's something with the word success, but they needed to have completed a certain number of transplants, and they needed to have a success rate, I believe, of 70% or better. And then they proceeded to give me a list of approved facilities that they use for transplant. So that helped to guide my search. And then once approved, they paid for the transplant, the follow-ups, they pay for your medicines, well, at least Aetna does. The type of coverage that I have, again, a blessing. So,
Excellent.
or your
Excellent.
insurance company. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about your current kidney advocacy efforts. What is the Kidney Network Tackling Polycystic Kidney Disease? How did it come about? And I understand you have a Facebook page.
Yes, I do have a Facebook page, and it's just that, the Kidney Network Tackling Polycystic Kidney Disease. And what I wanted to do was just have a stream of information for people who are dealing with polycystic kidney disease, or it's kind of extended itself, just, kidney disease. And I post articles and information that I think are helpful. I'm also going to be working on a list of resources for people living with polycystic kidney disease. Maybe list of, I want to do something nationwide, looking at nephrology teams nationwide, kind of finding out, do you have somebody that specializes in kidney disease? Who might that be? I mean, not kidney disease, in PKD, or is it the entire practice? What hospitals you're affiliated with, and kind of, that's something I'm working on right now. I want to provide resources. I want to provide hope, because without hope, you have nothing. So when I see, I read through, as you do, a lot of these online kidney groups, and I would also recommend that people join those kidney groups. And you hear the sad stories. When I hear the sad stories, I just go right back at them, to try to brighten their day, to encourage them. So that's what the Kidney Network is about. So it's the Kidney Network Tackling Polycystic Kidney Disease, and it's on Facebook. I'd love for you to join us. And you can post your thoughts and ideas there as well. And it's a public group. I just want people to know that. So anybody can see what you post. I also have an anonymous button. If you choose not to be identified, that can also be the case. But that's, it's just a resource connecting people. That's all.
Okay. Do you have any objection when I share this broadcast in the comments, if I post the link to your Facebook page, the Kidney Network Tackling Polycystic Kidney Disease page?
No, absolutely not. I want more. The more, the merrier. Again, because I think your goal and mine are definitely aligned in terms of really connecting with as many people as we can. And I also have a LLC that was just approved, and it's called Each One Reach One. And like I said, my kids, let them do the work, let mama do the talking. and the bottom line is that's what it does. I believe that we were put on this earth not only to take care of ourselves and our families, but we're supposed to reach down and help others. And so that's how this came about. So that group is established for any speaking engagements, community work, any consulting work. I'm working on a focus group project now, and I'm looking for people who are living with PKD, who live in the brown and Black communities. Now, I'm gonna tell you why that is, because I really wanted to say this at the beginning and why this is important. There are over 30 million people living with kidney disease, okay? Of those 30 million, when you look at all those people, 9 out of 10 people don't even know they have kidney disease. That just blew my mind. And so that's another thing that drives me. And people of color are 8 times more likely to end up on dialysis faster than our white counterparts. You know, no, I'm not saying anything negative, it's reality. And so I want to drill down into my community. I want to reach them. I want to get the message out, because it's not just what Jim and I have, which is polycystic kidney disease, and it's rare. There's only 600,000 people in the US that are living with it right now. It's a rare disease, but hypertension and diabetes are two of the leading causes of progression to renal failure. So if you're diabetic, you need to be asking, you know, how's my kidneys doing? How's this medication affecting my kidneys? Are there any options? Am I doing things right? And making sure you're with the right endocrinologist in that situation. Same thing when it comes to hypertension. My father had uncontrolled hypertension, and his mom died of an aneurysm. And because of the disparities in health care, his mother definitely didn't know if she had PKD or not. And even my dad, you know, so we're trying to close those gaps through information and understanding. And I just learned today, and you know more about this, Jim, than I do, through legislative action. You know, we get our politicians to put forth bills that are helping people who are living with kidney disease. So yes. So there's a lot of work to be done. And really, that's what I want to do moving forward.
With your 2 groups, Lisa, what is it that you see as far as your advocacy is concerned that you would like to do in the future? What are your long-range goals?
Long range, I'm still working on the short term, Jim. I really want to see where it's going to go. And what I've written in my plan is very short term goals. And as you know, I'm a business person first. That's what I've done. You know, your business plan is a living document. And so as you grow, it should change. But again, like I told you, my number one goal is to educate, empower people, get them moving to action that will help save lives, and to give them hope. And I hope that, you know, and what I'm trying to do is telling you, hey, it's not easy, but look at me, I have a second life, and that can be you too. So really, that's what I'm trying to do now, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, it's not about the money. It's not about none of that. It's about educating people and empowering people at this point.
Okay. We're in the home stretch, Miss Lisa.
Okay.
Is there anything that I forgot to ask you about, or do you have any final statements you would like to mention before we conclude our discussion tonight?
I'm going to say, just like I put down, be a conqueror. You can be a conqueror, and you can live a life, and learn all you can, and get involved. And once you're successful in conquering the disease state, reach down and touch someone. Bring somebody with you, because we all have different skill sets to offer. And I think everybody can help someone. And I talk to that when I see young people moving forward. My girlfriend's son just got his PhD. When he got his PhD, the one thing I said to him is, you need to pay that forward. You need to bring somebody with you. My middle daughter that you referred to, she was a CNA. She's now in nursing school, and she's maintaining a 3.6 GPA. She has one more year to go. And I know she's going to be reaching out and helping others. But that's what I try to communicate to the young people. And I'm so very proud of those who are achieving and paying forward. So that's what I want to do. I want you to be encouraged to live. I want you to have better outcomes. And the way you do that is by asking questions and being knowledgeable and making the right choices. And I'm just going to say, faith, it's brought me a long way. And that's it.
All right. Well, Lisa, I appreciate you taking time to speak with us tonight.
No problem.
Great talk. And I learned a lot. I hope our audience learned a lot. And maybe we'll have you back sometime so you can update us on what's going on with your advocacy work.
Yep. I'm only a phone call away, Jim. You know that.
All right. All right, everybody. You have a good night. I'll see you guys again at the end of the month. I have guests booked through October. Awesome. And have some interesting people that want to talk with you. Okay. All right.
All right.
Everybody have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. All right, folks, that's our show. Thank you for tuning in. Please share the replay when it comes out. Peace.
Brothers, my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die.